touching dumbbells, touching weights, the sounds, the smells, the just the feel of lifting weights, getting the muscles engaged and building a little bit of muscle. And as I said, just the look and aesthetic of it. And of course, there's the corresponding, hopefully, health aspect of it. That's why I do this. Hey gang, welcome back to Mark's 60 Plus Fitness Journey. Okay, today is going to be another one of these walk and talks. I'm out on my walk. It's about 7:17 in the morning here, kind of early, kind of chilly too. But today I want to talk about a little subject that pops in my head every so often. I'm sure in yours too. Why do I work out? Now, obviously, this is going to be from Mr. Mark's point of view here. And the whole concept of having to exercise is kind of an odd one if you think about it. Now, let's say 200 years ago, just pick that as an arbitrary time frame. People didn't find it necessary to get in physical activity during the day because they hadn't gotten any in during the day. And that's because, by and large, people were physically active in that they had to be to survive. I mean, 200 years ago, there were very few people in office environments. Most people were out and about, spending 10, 12 hours a day, probably 6, 7 days a week, engaged in physical activity. Now we, for good or bad, generally don't exist that way. Now certainly, a lot of people out there still engaged in physical activity. And let's just say you're a bricklayer, a mason by trade, for example, which is something I've always been intrigued with. And I think if I had to start over again as a youngster, knowing what I know now, that might be a field I'd go into. I find it fascinating. But that's an aside. But there are people out there that still engage in physical activity on a day-to-day basis. And probably some of those still exercise after their fairly arduous work day. But most of us, at least the second half of my career in particular, I sat at a desk with an array of computer monitors and computer trying to slap together some software that was somewhat workable and usable out there in the world. In my case, it was for the U.S. Navy aviation community. But now, it was an arduous job in the sense that, well, first of all, I wasn't cut out to do that kind of work. I just kind of flailed my way through it. I'm not smart enough to do it, but I'm also smart enough to know that wasn't what I should have been doing. But again, that's another aside. The point there being, I sat down at a desk all day long. Now, I did periodically try to get up, walk outside, and just get a little exercise in during the day. Give myself a little break, stand up, get the blood flowing. But another advantage to getting out of off the chair from behind the desk and go outside is just to go out and see that there was a real world out there. Now, I'm kind of deviating from my original discussion point of why I work out. Why do I work out? I guess in a rambling way, this will all come together in the end. That's what I always hope. I'm doing a kind of a stream of consciousness type of discussion here. And more often than not, I have to end up starting over again because it sounds like a big ramble. But let's continue on. So I spent a lot of time, the last, I don't know, 20 years of my career, sitting behind a desk. But that was a tumultuous period for me too. Anyway, during that time period, I'd kind of fallen off the workout wagon and got consumed with full-blown alcoholism and ended up in an alcohol rehab for 10 weeks. Now, I've done a few videos on that. And if you're curious about that, I'll link the original video of that up here in the corner. But during that 20 years, there was a period of absolutely no working out, and then to rehab, and then jumping full-blown right back into working out. And I've been on about an 8.5-year streak, almost 9 years now, of working out nonstop since that rehab stint. So why do I do it? Finally, we're at that point. And it's hard for me to explain. I know there's a lot of vanity in it. I like the look. I like to feel like I am in shape. I like to look aesthetically pleasing, at least in my eyes. So, I like to look. I like to have a muscular physique. I don't think, I'll freely admit that. Now, the second part of it is that I like to think that I am keeping myself healthier so I can engage in life a lot more fully. I have a granddaughter now, my first grandchild. I don't know if there'll be many more or any more, but I do have her, and that is certainly motivation enough to want to be healthy and vital and active and be out and about. So working out is good for that. And at this point right now, I have my lovely wife, and we married later in life, and she is just the world to me right now, along with my family. And there's just a lot of things that I'd like to be able to provide physically with the people I love in my life. So I want to stay physically fit and healthy as I can. So there's the vanity aspect of it, the fitness and being vital and active as I age aspect of it. And I think the final, and maybe not least trivial, is that I would be lost without it. It's a lifestyle for me. It is a definition, a partial definition of who I am. I go to the gym and I feel at home. I go to the gym, I see people there that I've made friendships with. It's just a vital component of what makes Mark. There are a lot of things I like to do. I'm not a single-faceted individual. I love to read. I love artwork. I fully expect and intend to get back into producing more art. I used to do that years ago. I love collecting things like fountain pens, literal fountain pens with ink and nibs and things like that. I love that. I love writing on really nice paper with these pens, just things like that. And there's a lot of things that comprise our lives and things that we like to do that make it up. But one of the most vital for me is this working out component. And working out for me over my lifetime, and thank goodness I've been able to do this since about the age of 14, 15, when I've got my first weight set. It's another video I've done. You might be able to find that out there in my video collection, but I've been doing this a while in different forms and fashions, shapes, sizes, from general fitness to be able to play sports in high school, to actual powerlifting, competitive powerlifting, to actual bicycle racing. I did that for years. I got into running, 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons. I did that for a while. I actually liked that, but I think, I eventually morphed back into what I enjoy most, and that is being in the gym, touching barbells, touching dumbbells, touching weights, the sounds, the smells, just the feel of lifting weights, getting the muscles engaged and building a little bit of muscle. And as I said, just the look and aesthetic of it. And of course, there's the corresponding, hopefully, health aspect of it. That's why I do this. And like I said, it is a big part of what makes up my day. It's a big part of what makes my day feel complete. I've talked a lot recently about taking rest days. I find that's very important, obviously. But I have a hard time on rest day because I like going to the gym. I really do. But I think I would be lost. I would certainly be lost right now if something were to happen and I would not be able to work out like I do now. I would find a way to do something within the constraints of whatever malady that happened to be that would prevent me from doing this. But for now, I don't see that happening. And but I would be lost without this. And I right now I'd like to just keep in mind, be mindful that I have it, and be thankful for it, and proceed on with it. And this world is challenging. So that's another aspect about another reason why I work out, I guess, is the endorphins and the kind of calming effect I get out of it. But that's almost 12 minutes already. I don't know how people do speeches and say, oh, you've got 8 minutes to get your 8 minutes to speak, for example, and get it all in and sound like they said a lot. 12 minutes has gone by fast. But I tell you what, I enjoy doing these things. I enjoy talking to you folks, and I enjoy getting your feedback. And I guess with that, I'm going to start to wrap this up. But I did want to do another walk and talk. I enjoy this. I enjoy as I said, the stream of consciousness part of this. This is kind of what makes Mark. And I am having a good time with this channel. I'm not making any money with it, as I've said many times. I do it out of sheer joy and love of doing it and passing along this particular 64-year-old's, almost 65-year-old's fitness journey. And hopefully it's helping some people, and it's helping me to a degree as much as everybody else too, because it's a good outlet for me. So I guess with that I'll say that's enough for today. So until next time, go get 'em. Mark out.